A man only chases what he feels he can lose. You want a man to chase you 50 times more? Stop giving him everything up front. Stop being so available, so predictable, so ready whenever he snaps his fingers. See, the truth is, men don't value what's handed to them easily. They value what they have to earn. When you start carrying yourself like a prize, like something rare, he'll move mountains to win you over. Let's talk about knowing your worth. See, the problem with a lot of people today, especially in relationships, is that they keep forgetting what they bring to the table. They start believing that the other person's attention is some kind of reward they need to earn. But the truth is, the moment you start begging for love, you've already given your power away. Knowing your worth isn't about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about walking into every situation with the mindset that you are valuable, with or without anyone's approval. When a woman truly knows her worth, she doesn't chase validation, she attracts respect. And let me tell you, a man can feel that energy instantly. It's in the way you talk, the way you hold your silence, the way you handle yourself when he pulls back. When you don't know your worth, you overgive, you try too hard, you send too many texts, you try to prove that you're good enough, and you accept less than what you deserve just to keep someone close. But when you know your worth, that all stops. You start to realize that not everyone deserves access to you. You don't hand out your time and attention to just anyone who shows interest. You become more selective, and that's when your energy becomes magnetic. See, men are hunters by nature, but they only chase what feels rare, what feels valuable. If you're always available, if you're always trying to please him, you take away the chase. But when you move with confidence and calm, when you know you're the prize, he feels that shift. That's when the chase begins. Knowing your worth also means not letting your emotions control your standards. It means you don't lower your bar just because you're lonely. You don't accept half love just to say you have somebody. You hold your standards steady even when it's hard, even when it means walking away, because when you know your worth, you understand that peace is more valuable than presence. You'd rather be alone in self-respect than together in confusion. And that strength, that quiet, confident strength drives a man wild. It makes him step up his game because he knows you won't settle for anything less than genuine effort. A woman who knows her worth doesn't compete for a man's attention. She commands it through her presence. She doesn't beg to be chosen because she's already chosen herself. She's the kind of woman who can walk away from anything that doesn't align with her peace. And that kind of courage makes her unforgettable. When a man sees that you're not afraid to lose him, he starts fearing the day you actually do. And that's when he chases harder. So when you know your worth, you don't have to change yourself to keep anyone interested. You just keep being you, grounded, strong, and full of self-respect. Because that kind of woman doesn't need to chase love. Love naturally finds its way back to her. The power of mystery and emotional distance is something that most people overlook in relationships. Everybody wants to be understood, seen, and loved. But when you hand over every piece of yourself too soon, you take away the most powerful thing you have. Curiosity. See, men are wired to be intrigued by what they can't fully figure out. When you're always explaining yourself, always available, always trying to make him understand how much you care, you remove the sense of wonder. A man should feel like there's always more to learn about you, more layers to uncover, more emotions to earn. When you keep a little mystery, you keep his attention because he's not done discovering you yet. Emotional distance doesn't mean being cold or playing games. It means you control your emotions instead of letting them control you. It means you don't react every time he pulls away. You don't chase him to remind him you exist, and you don't give away your peace just to keep the connection alive. You let silence do the work. You let your absence speak louder than words, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. When a man feels that you can live without him, that you're fine on your own, it shakes him. It makes him realize that your world doesn't revolve around him. And that's exactly when he starts chasing harder to earn a place in it. You see, mystery is attractive because it's rare. In a world where everyone overshares, where people post every emotion, every thought, every move, being reserved is powerful. When you don't expose everything, when you leave room for imagination, you become unforgettable. A man's mind loves a puzzle. And when you become one, not because you're hiding, but because you're grounded, he stays hooked. You don't have to manipulate him or play tricks. You just have to know when to hold back and let him come to you. That space between your presence and your distance is where desire grows. When you keep a sense of mystery, you protect your emotional energy. You stop trying to be predictable or perfect, and instead you show your authenticity in small doses. You give him just enough to feel close, but not enough to make him feel in control. And that balance makes him think about you even when you're not around. He starts wondering what you're thinking, what you're doing, and who's capturing your attention. That's the space where attraction deepens in the unknown. The truth is, mystery isn't about pretending. It's about maintaining your individuality, even in love. It's about not losing yourself in someone else's presence. When you stay connected to your own world, your goals, your passions, your peace, you naturally create distance that makes you more desirable. Because nothing draws a man in like a woman who doesn't need him to feel complete. She's focused, calm, and a little hard to read. And that right there is what makes him chase her 50 times more. Leveling up your confidence and purpose is where everything changes. Confidence isn't just about how you look, how you dress, or how you talk. It's about how you feel about yourself when nobody's watching. It's the quiet belief that you are enough, that you don't need to be validated to know your value. When a woman moves with confidence, she doesn't chase attention, she commands it. People can feel that energy before she even speaks. A man especially can sense when a woman is rooted in her purpose, when she's not just waiting to be loved, but already living a life she's proud of. That kind of energy draws him in because confidence backed by purpose is magnetic. See, when you start working on yourself, your goals, your mindset, your peace, you stop looking for someone else to give you direction. You become your own source of happiness. That's when you stop settling for crumbs because you know you deserve the whole meal. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to shout it. It just is. It's when you can walk away from something that doesn't serve you and not second guess it. It's when you can say, I'm good, even when things don't go your way. And purpose That's what gives your confidence depth. When you have something in your life that excites you, something that pushes you forward, you glow differently. You move differently. You don't cling to people because you're already fulfilled from within. Men are drawn to women who are confident in their direction. When you're focused on building your dreams, when you're not waiting for him to complete you, you become a force. You become the kind of woman he respects. You see, most people think chasing a man will make him stay, but it doesn't. What makes a man stay is when he sees you chasing yourself, your potential, your vision, your greatness, because that's when he realizes you're not just another woman, you're a woman of purpose. And men, deep down, want to be part of something greater than themselves. They want to align with a woman who inspires them, not one who depends on them for validation. When you start leveling up your life, you naturally shift the energy in your relationships. You start attracting people who match your growth instead of draining it. You start moving from desperation to choice. And that's powerful. Because when you have confidence and purpose, you don't chase, you attract. You don't settle, you select. You don't beg, you believe. You start trusting that what's meant for you will find you without you forcing. A confident woman who knows where she's going is unstoppable. She doesn't compete, she doesn't compare, and she doesn't cling. She's too busy evolving, too busy living, too busy shining. And when the man sees that, he doesn't want to lose it. He'll chase harder, not because you need him to, but because your strength, your self-belief, and your purpose make him want to rise to your level. That's the kind of woman every man runs after, the one who knows who she is and where she's going. Setting boundaries that demand respect is one of the strongest moves a woman can make. See, love without respect doesn't last. You can give a man everything, your time, your heart, your loyalty. But if you don't draw a line on how you want to be treated, you'll always end up giving more than you receive. Boundaries are not walls, they are standards. They're not about pushing people away. They're about teaching them how to treat you. And the moment you start enforcing them, that's when everything changes. Because boundaries tell the world, I know my value and I won't settle for less. When you don't have boundaries, you allow confusion to replace clarity. You start accepting behavior that goes against your peace. You let people slide with things that bother you because you don't want to seem too much. But when you keep quiet about what hurts you, you're teaching them that it's okay to keep doing it. Boundaries are your voice when you choose silence. They're your protection when emotions try to take over. And the truth is, when you set boundaries, you might lose some people, but you'll never lose the right ones. The ones who truly care will rise to meet your standards. The ones who don't were only there for what they could get, not for who you are. A man respects what you respect. If you respect your time, he will value it. If you respect your emotions, he will handle them with care. But if you allow disrespect, inconsistency, or half effort, he'll take that as permission. That's why boundaries are power. They separate what's acceptable from what's not. They remind him that your love is a privilege, not an entitlement. And when a man realizes that he can't cross those lines without consequences, he starts to see you different. He starts putting in effort. He starts chasing, not because you demand it, but because your energy tells him you won't tolerate less. See, setting boundaries isn't just about saying no. It's about saying yes to yourself. It's about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and self-respect over desperation. It's about showing that your kindness has limits and your love has standards. When you stand firm in what you believe, you attract people who match that energy. You no longer have to beg for respect because your boundaries command it. A woman who sets boundaries doesn't do it to control others. She does it to protect her peace. She knows that love without self-respect becomes self-destruction. And when a man sees that kind of strength, he can't help but admire it. It challenges him to grow, to meet her level, to be consistent. Boundaries make you powerful, not difficult. They don't push people away. They filter out the wrong one. And once you start living by that truth, the right man won't just stay. He'll chase you harder than ever because he knows he's dealing with a woman who knows exactly what she deserves. Letting him feel the loss of your energy is one of the most powerful lessons in love. See, sometimes silence teaches louder than words ever could. When a woman pulls her energy back, not out of anger, not to play games, but because she's done pouring into someone who takes her for granted, that absence hits deep. A man may not notice your presence when you're always there, but he will definitely feel your absence when you're gone. Your energy, your love, your attention, that's what lights up his world. But the problem is, when you keep giving it endlessly, he forgets its value. It becomes expected, not appreciated. That's why sometimes you have to pull back, not to punish him, but to remind him that your energy is a privilege, not a guarantee. When you stop showing up for people who stop meeting you halfway, you shift the balance of power. You take back control of your emotions. You stop chasing closure and start creating peace. Men are used to women overgiving, explaining, fixing, and forgiving. So when you go silent, when you step back and focus on yourself instead, that silence becomes deafening. It makes him think. It makes him wonder. He starts to realize that maybe he pushed too far, maybe he took too much, and maybe he lost something real. See, the mind doesn't crave what's easy. It craves what's gone. When you stop giving your energy freely, he starts chasing the very thing he once overlooked. Pulling your energy back doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about yourself first. It means you finally understand that peace isn't found in chasing someone to value you. It's found in walking away when they don't. You have to remember that your energy is powerful. It changes the room when you walk in. It gives life to conversations, excitement to moments, and love to the connection. So when you take that away, everything feels different. The calls stop feeling warm. The silence feels heavy. The absence becomes a lesson. And that's when he starts realizing the truth, that your energy was never ordinary. It was rare. It was nurturing. It was steady. Men fall for the women who bring them peace, but they chase the ones who know when to walk away. Because when you stop trying to make him see your worth, he has no choice but to see it on his own. That's what makes him chase harder. The realization that he can't replace your energy. You can't teach someone to appreciate you while you're still overextending yourself. You teach them by stepping back, by letting them sit in the emptiness they created. So when you let him feel the loss of your energy, you're not losing anything, you're regaining your power. You're reminding him that your presence is valuable, that your love is sacred, and that your peace will never again be sacrificed just to be seen. Because once a man feels the emptiness your energy leaves behind, that's when he understands what he's truly lost. And that's when the chase begins. Becoming a woman who doesn't need to chase love is the ultimate transformation. It's when you realize that love is not something you beg for, it's something you attract by the way you live, the way you carry yourself, and the way you value your own heart. The woman who doesn't chase love has learned through pain, through disappointment, and through growth that peace is better than constant uncertainty. She's learned that love should feel like calm, not chaos, consistency, not confusion. And that shift in mindset changes everything. Because when you stop chasing love, you start standing in your power. You stop waiting for someone to choose you, and instead you start choosing yourself. Every single day, a woman who doesn't chase love no longer lets her emotions drive her decisions. She knows that anyone who truly wants to be in her life will make an effort to be there. She doesn't chase calls, she doesn't chase texts, and she doesn't chase attention. She understands that what's meant for her will never need to be forced. When she walks into a room, her energy speaks before she does. She's calm, composed, and unbothered, not because she doesn't care, but because she trusts herself enough to know that she's already complete. That's the kind of woman a man can't forget, because she's not waiting to be chosen, she's already chosen herself. When you stop chasing love, you give yourself the space to grow. You start focusing on your own happiness, your goals, your dreams, and your purpose. You stop looking for someone to fill the void and start filling it yourself with self-love and confidence. That's when your energy changes. That's when people start noticing the glow, the peace, and the freedom that comes with not needing anyone's approval. And that energy, that's what makes people chase you. Because nothing is more attractive than a woman who's content within her own soul. You see, chasing love often comes from fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But when you overcome that fear, when you finally realize that solitude isn't punishment but power, you rise to another level. You stop accepting temporary attention and start demanding permanent respect. You stop trying to prove your worth and start living like you already know it. And that confidence, that calm self-assurance drives a man crazy in the best way. He starts wondering how you're so composed, why you're so unshaken, and how you can be so fine without him. That mystery makes him chase you even more, because you've become the type of woman who doesn't need to chase, she attracts naturally. So when you become that woman, the one who's centered, grounded, and full of purpose, love begins to find you effortlessly. You no longer have to chase it because your energy speaks for you.